Hey everyone, welcome back to Indicted TV. I am your host, Negra. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Today's episode, we have Chino Grande.
Hey, what's so with it?
All right, so first question, Mr. Chino Grande. Where are you from and where did you grow up?
All right, I'm from Whittier, you know what I mean? From 13,000 block, 1300s. And, you know what I mean? I was born in East LA though.
That's where we want to start, where you were born. I should ask you that first, huh? Where you were born.
Yeah, I was born in East LA and, you know what I mean? In a little old town called, you know what I mean? Well, through the Maravilla district, you know what I mean? So, grew up right there, not too far from the King Taco and, you know what I mean? A little exciting.
Do you have brothers, sisters? Were your parents together when you were, as you were growing up? How was the inside of your household?
The inside of my household, like I was raised in church, you know what I mean?
Nice.
I was raised in church. We grew up in going to a church called First Fundamental Bible Church in Monterey Park. And you know what I mean? Everything was like, you know what I mean? We always prayed, you know what I mean? My father had integrity. He you know what I mean? He's been a lot of places. He was like worked at Walt Disney, you know what I mean? Warner Brothers, and he had a license to do like a lot of stuff, you know? Like we weren't kind of like just a typical family, you know?
Oh, okay. So you guys had you were like like you said, typical like normal family. Everybody sat at the table and ate. Okay, like your mom was a stay-at-home wife.
No, my mom, she was a nurse. She was a registered nurse. She worked at like Santa Marta. So she was probably like 17. She had her first job, you know? And,
Oh, okay. That's cool.
yep.
He said, yep. So you had a normal upbringing. At what age did you like start changing? Because it sounds like, you had like a good household.
Yeah, we did. We had, you know what I mean? We still, you know what I mean? We still keep in contact. Everything's good. But I think like my actual little journey was like when they would go to school, like my dad would go to work, my mom would go to school, and then she went to work, you know? So it was like I had a little bit of time to experience the block, you know? Okay. We were living in East LA, so when they were gone, I would go to my grandma's house, and you know what I mean? It was a little bit, my tios, everybody been through the system, so you know what I mean?
Okay.
It was a little bit more.
So around how old were you? What years were these? Just so that everybody could get get a visual of the time, the year, you know?
I would say like maybe like probably like the late 80s and then like the early 90s. You know what I mean? Anywhere from maybe like 9, 10, 11. Those were like the most crucial times of my life, because I think like when like walking home from school, you know what I mean? You experience the boys on the block and everybody's pretty much like posted, and you know what I mean? That's when you run into the...
Yeah, most definitely, especially those years. Because if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Right now, I'm 41.
He said right now.
You know what I mean? I did 41 laps around the mountain, you know what I mean? Like
I get it. I'm 40, I get it, you know?
Oh, that's right.
So you started like seeing everybody outside when you would come home from school. Was this like junior high, elementary?
Yeah.
Probably like
elementary school. You know, elementary school, you kind of, you know what I mean? You're looking for that little homely environment. So, you know what I mean? Like you want to play catch, you want to play baseball, you want to play flag football or whatever you do, you know? Like you end up playing with what you got, you know? And that's what we had. It was on the block, was the fellas and, you know, people you wanted to be like, because that's who you kind of were programmed to see the most, you know? Meanwhile, our parents were like hardworking and trying to do their thing to keep us away, you know?
Thank God we had that. I had that too. My mom was a hard worker, so it was kind of like the same thing.
Oh, that's right.
Are you the only male?
No, it's me. I got two sisters. They're both like nurses, you know what I mean? So everybody's cool.
Except you.
Me, I'm a doctor, you know, I got a PhD and a EBT and all that good stuff.
For sure.
Nah, just playing.
Your first time getting in trouble, and what was it for?
I think my first time was probably I don't know, it was probably like, I think the first time some dude, it was like elementary school, I think some dude came up to me, and then like I think his sisters had a problem with my cousins, so you know what I mean, And so he came up to me all crazy, and I just hit him, boom. And next thing I know, it's like I got to the principal's office. From the principal's office, you know what I mean? So it ended up being, you know what I mean? I started writing on walls, and you know what I mean? And then from there, I think I went to juvenile hall for probably like my first little assault and battery.
But what did you started writing in juvenile hall? I mean, what did you start? Because you weren't from a gang yet, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't from a gang. It
So
was
what
just
were you writing on the
fights.
walls? You were just tagging your name?
Yeah, just I had a little tagger name, like little Astro, you know, because I was into astrology and stuff like that.
Shit.
My dad had an Astro van, you know, so I tried to put everything together, and so I started writing. I did the little Ricardo M on the weekends. I go to check in juvenile hall, and then, you know what I mean?
So you went to jail for that little trouble?
Yeah, I did.
For protecting your cousin?
I went to the Impact program. I went to the Impact. It was called like Impact. It was like in downtown. And then so we would do like weekends. We do like the little physical training, PT, and then, you know what I mean?
Oh shit! But you were in elementary when this happened.
Yeah. I got,
so that
like
little you protecting your cousins is what triggered
the whole thing.
Everything else.
Yeah, it was like after that it was like snowball, you know. And
you couldn't just get out.
Yeah.
So so let's just. What was the first time? What was the reason why you went to juvenile hall the first time? And how old were you?
I was probably like I think like 13, 14 of like a cool little, you know what I mean? Like they give me like a cool little, maybe like 2 months, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, by that time I was already from my neighborhood, you know what I mean? The story is, you know what I mean? Like in the beginning, like my parents were like, you want to be a grown man, you know what I mean? And you're going to go experience the streets. So I respected it. What I did is I took my karaoke machine and I took a backpack full of clothes, you know what I mean? And I went to my primo's pad originally. And then he was like, hey, fool, you know what I mean? He was like, hey, you know, I know these fools down the street, they're kind of like you know, and they're into that kind of stuff. So I went to their pad, and then that's
so what was you took your karaoke? Why did you take your karaoke?
Cause I used to write. I used to listen like Kid Frost and I think like Snoop Dogg, and I took a little karaoke. I used to try to rap, you know what I mean?
And when your little cousin said, "There's these fools like you," did that mean they were like gang members?
Yeah, they're from my neighborhood, you know. So it was like, from there it was like we started mobbing around. We didn't come home late. We started doing gang stuff and kicking back, and then next thing I know, it was like I was jumped in, you know, put me on the hood, and I was like.
So you were kicked out of your house first before you even got jumped into your hood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what kind of led me to it. Is I went to the streets, and then I experienced that, you know what I mean? And I kind of like the little journey, you know. So I ended up being curious, and then one thing led to another, and then from there it was just, you know, it was just like a little cycle.
So you went to juvenile hall for what?
I went to juvenile hall for like 5 seconds. Everything I would go to Frontier. I went to after that I went to middle schools. I was fighting with everybody, you know. So it was just like I kept going to juvenile hall for all that stuff.
Just getting violations over and over and over?
Yeah, like I would go in my neighborhood on a jersey, some fool like, where you from? Like, well, we can't read or what? And then, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, it's just.
So when did you? So okay, you were like 16, 15 when you went to juvenile hall for the first time, or you just kept going in and out?
Yeah, in and out.
And this whole time you still weren't living at home.
Yeah.
You never went back since.
I would go back maybe for like a month or two and then jam again. You know what I mean? And
all right.
My parents, they used to try to like, hey, you know, kick back, slow down.
And you just didn't want to fucking listen.
Yeah.
I get it. So what did you go to juvenile hall for? And how did you feel when you walked in? You know, like how did you feel inside? Like what did it look like? You know, like everything, like the whole little experience.
My first time I went to like a juvenile hall, like did a little juvenile hall program, was probably like 15, I think. I think 14 or 15, around there. I beat some dude with a bat, and then I got busted for it, and then from there the first juvenile hall I went to was Los Padrinos, and you know me, because I went to all of them. I went to East Lake, and then I went to Silmar. You know what I mean? I did a little journey, but the first little like LP journey I went through, like I think I went through, you know what I mean? And I seen just the whole environment. All right, I'm finally here, you know, I'm locked up, and, you know, and you know what I mean? I think like the experience of that is kind of like by that time you're already trying to prove something, you know? So it's like, hit everybody up, where's everybody from, run to, you know what I mean, the other side, and then run into each other's rooms and fight, you know what I mean? And just do the typical stuff, you know? I remember like one time this dude tried to hit me with like a pencil, you know what I mean? So I caught it, and I remember I grabbed the pencil from my hand. I still got the spina right there, the little pencil there.
Yeah, I could see it.
You know what I mean? I took it out and I just put it in his cheek and smashed it on his face, and bah, snapped it. And then that's what led to my ultimate, like, you know what I mean? My little, like, defense mode, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
and did that little incident give you more time? Did you have to go to court? Like, what did they tell? Like, what was that? What happened?
nah, nothing. I just remember, like, cause the staff wasn't right there, so I kind of got him at a good time, and then, you know what I mean? After that, you know what I mean? It was like defense, like you have to, you know?
Yeah,
It's
no,
not so much like,
I
all right, I'm
understand.
trying to do, cause I was shy, you know? I was shy, I was timid, I was kind of like, I was to myself, you know what I mean? I really wasn't really out there like that, unless I felt like the energy. Once I felt the energy, then it was like, all right, you know?
I'm only coming out to fight.
That's what it was, like, you know what I mean? Cause I'm not,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So you got out, and what did you do? Did you go back home?
After that, I went back home for a little bit, but then I went back to the streets. I caught another case, and then
And what was the second case? Did you go to juvenile hall or?
yeah, I went to juvenile hall. Then I went to camp. I went to East Lake, and from East Lake, I went to Sylmar. From Sylmar, I went to Camp Rocky. I went to San Dimas, Glen Rocky, and then I experienced a little bit that was like,
Tell
you know
us
what I mean?
about camp.
Camp's crazy. It's kind of like American Me, you know, and everybody's like, oh, you know what I mean? And everything she like, get them. You're like, oh, damn, this shit happens in real life. Like, oh, all right.
I don't know what that means. Like, I never been to camp with boys, so
yeah.
like I mean, I watched American Me, but for the people that never have, like, tell it, like, explain a little bit more.
It's just like, you know what I mean? Just a bunch of kids, you run amok, and you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Some people try to take it too far, so you gotta just, you know what I mean? You adapt to your environment. Now all of a sudden you gotta be on defense mode, you know?
24/7.
Yeah, like, I remember.
So it's literally just fighting all day.
It's just fight, you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's kind of like training, and then after that, like, it teaches you to get ready for the county, mow the bunks, and then you get ready for prison and all the extras, you know?
So you definitely got ready because you did time, right? What was the craziest thing you saw in juvenile hall?
I mean, juvenile hall, like, everybody runs in each other's rooms and fights, you know what I mean? But I think, like, when I got to camp, like, camp was like, you know what I mean? It was like you pull up and, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, you know what I mean? You got fools like trying to do the most and take advantage of, you know what I mean? Like the little bit of maybe not so, you know what I mean? So defensive kids, and I think like that was probably one of them. Like when I first pulled up, everybody banged on me. I'm like, what's up, fool? I'm for the 13, you know what I mean? And bam, bam, make sure everybody knows first, you know what I mean? And this is my space right here, you know what I mean? So let them know that much, and then you know what I mean? Then comes the testing, like everybody's trying to test, and you know what I mean? And I think it was like this one time, this dude, you know what I mean? He dropped this moco rag, you know what I mean? Try to see like how I'm gonna respond to it, but it had blood. And so he dropped it like on my bed, and I was like, what? I was like, hell no. I was like, hey, G, like, here, you know what I mean? Like, I grabbed it from the non-blood side, and I threw it back. I was like, hey, G, watch out. You know what I mean? Oh, Spencer over there. You know what I mean? Boom, he drops it again. I'm like, hey, G, you know what I mean? I told you, like, here, you know what I mean? And when he did it the third time, because me, I'm like, strike 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? My head.
You were trying to be calm, and, you know, you're being cool.
Yeah, so like probably like the third time, I just grabbed it right. I didn't even care if it had blood or whatever, and I just smashed it in his face. Da, da, you know what I mean? I yanked him off the bunk, so kind of getting it, you know what I mean? And, you know, punching on his foot, and everybody's, you know what I mean? That's when, you know what I mean? I see all the other kids are like, yeah, get him, you know? And I'm like, get him, you know what I mean?
Why? Because everybody didn't like him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because he was doing the most, I guess. You know, he did have some big ass, like some big old hands, you know? He had like some little hammers, you know what I mean? So
when you say doing the most, what do you mean by doing the most?
Like doing the most, you know what I mean? Like just
like you said take advantage of the kids. Like, do you mean like take advantage of like their manhood?
I mean, I don't want to say all that, you know, but like
yeah.
taking advantage of, you know what I mean? They just like, you know what I mean, like ruining these little kids, you know, and so and that's when I learned like oh, this survival, you know, like
He
you
means
have to,
taking advantage of their manhood, guys.
just I don't know about that part, but you know what I mean. But it's kind of just
Yeah.
it's crazy, and those sides, like I look at Instagram now. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, if you been, you know what I mean, this and that. And they got these little polls and get compensation. You know what I mean? So little by little, people's coming out with it.
Yeah.
You know, but back then it was just like,
Well, you know, because
like you gotta survive.
It's okay.
You know what I
Like,
mean? So
it's
just
okay to talk about it because those young boys that are probably traumatized and not even able to like have normal lives because they're not okay within themselves because of those situations. So sometimes, as hard as it is not to talk about it, like you don't feel comfortable, and that's okay. It's it has to be okay because those, I mean, they're men now. Who knows what they're doing?
I look at it like this, like yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? But I strongly feel like in my heart, like you know what I mean, like I believe in God. I pray. I'm a crybaby to God. I cry to him about everything. Like you know what I mean? For every defense mechanism, I'm like bless these hands, bless the you know what I mean, instruments. So you know what I mean? And however I gotta go into war, like King David, like you know what I mean. Some people is like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, I do it. My middle name is David. I'm
doing
you know
it.
what I mean? I come with weaponry, like you
That's
know what I
right.
mean.
No,
So
for sure.
so I'm like that dude, you know, and you know what I mean. I will defend myself, and you know what I mean. And I felt like that like now now they're coming out with it, but back then it was you know what I mean. It was like you have to do what you have to do, you know.
Yeah. So you were out of camp, and how long after did you catch another case after you got out?
I think my last time after that, I was supposed to do like 3 years in YA, and my tío, he had paroled to this mental home called Shining Light. And in Shining Light, he was like, hey, I know the director, and you know what I mean, I got a little bit of juice right here, and you know what I mean, maybe you should ask the judge, like if they'll grant you a kind of like a not a pardon, but like instead of,
I know what you mean. I did the same exact thing. I was supposed to go to to YA, but they put me in a mental home. It worked. So did it work for you?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was supposed to do the 3 years in YA. They sent me to the Shining Light Men's Home, and then from there it was like with a bunch of torcidos, So it was like, what it did though is it taught me one thing to be humble, Like in the morning we woke up and it was devotion. You pray to God, Everybody's like, all right, pray to God, But I grew up in that kind of home, so it wasn't awkward, It's like I pray to God every day, regardless, every day of my life, period,
No, I understand.
So
God is everything to me.
yeah. So I did that, and you know what I mean. I was fortunate. I skipped YA, I skipped YA, and then I traveled the world. Like from there, I got my life together, and I was like, I'm gonna do music,
I was about to ask you, when did you decide that you wanted to do music? I mean, you did mention earlier that, you grab your karaoke. That means, you like to write. So at what age did you actually start your rapping career?
I think music kind of saved my life, because I was out in the street, and then I had older homegirls, so they were like, oh, cute, he raps. And then, so from there, word of mouth, it went around, and then they would take me under the wing. So I was looking kind of for like that mother figure, like, all right, who's going to be cool? Who's going to take care of me and look out, because I know dudes are kind of grimy sometimes. So I was like, just to an extent, you learn as much as you could, but like my older homegirls, they got kids, so there's like a little bit of a conscience to kind of like guide you in somewhat of a right direction, So I think I kind of like ran with that. And then from there, I started doing music, and then, being accepted. So when I actually did music, I sent the demo tape to Rec from Wicked Minds, rest in peace, And then he was the one that actually put me on. I met him at a Blockbuster, and then I was like, what's up, G, And he was like, yeah, I got your demo and this and that. And he was like, call me up. And yeah, like I called him up, and like 3 months later, we ended up doing music. And then from there, we went to like Chichen Itza, you know what I mean? We went to the pyramids, and then in 2003, we went to New York to the towers, like, you know what I mean? So it was like God started just blessing us, with journeys and traveling, and then I ended up going to Japan, Spain, and that's what stopped the whole, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm kind of like a big deal. So
He
I'm
said, I'm
gonna,
kind of like a big deal. You were a big
you know what I
deal.
mean? Yeah, thank God, like he's the big deal. I'm just, you know what I mean, humbly like right here, just on the journey, and I'm glad I got to experience that because I experienced all the temples, like from Mexico, from the Yucatan, from Chichen Itza. I experienced the Sensoji Temple in Japan. I went to the Spain castle and in Saragossa. You know what I
That's
mean?
cool. You've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot, and all of that was kind of incorporated in my beliefs and my relationship with God. So it's like when I look back at it now, there was like certain times, events I had to be there, experience, and to help me understand my journey now. You know what I mean?
Was your name always Chino?
No, I was
How did you get your name, Mr. Chino Grande?
Yeah, in the beginning I was like Chinito, because I had those little Chinese bowl haircuts, the little Japanese bowl haircuts.
Did you have straight hair?
Yeah, I had like hair that came like this, and so it was like that, like a little Asian. And then from there, it kind of grew on me. So like after that, when I got in the neighborhood, I was Lil Chino. And then from there, I was like, when I wanted to do music, I seen that there was Little Rob, Little One, Little this, and I was like, I'm not little, like I'm a little guy, but I'm huge,
That's right.
So I was like, I'm from the Grande side, So I extended the name to Grande because I think I was like 14. I had got busted in like a little joyriding situation, and then when I got out, I was excited. So me and my boy, we hit up on the wall one time, and one of the, you know what I mean, like it just ended up, you know what I mean, following the name, the little roll call. It was like, oh, that looks good next to each other, So I ended up grabbing that and I just ran with it. I was like, that's what it is. That's what I'm gonna be,
Chino Grande.
Yeah.
That's cool. So that's as an adult. When did you end up going to jail? Like, what did you do to go to jail as an adult?
Oh, as an adult, you know what I mean? As an adult, I have kids, I have kids. I had daughters. I think when you have daughters, like your life changes, and you become like a little bit more overprotective,
I don't have daughters. I want to know.
Oh, you don't have daughters?
Thank God.
Oh man, yeah, that's when like life changes, and then you know what I mean? My name started getting out there, so I started trying to be like on the defense a little bit, From there, I started taking interest into like you know what I mean, artilleries and just like defense. You know what I mean? Go to the shooting ranges, and I started stocking up, and then you know what I mean. That's what I got busted for. Having like a large amount of bullets, and you know what I mean.
And how did that happen? Like, how did it get? Like, were you on probation?
Yeah, I was on probation, and the U.S. Marshals, they followed us, and they were like, boom. I was like, oh man.
So that's how it happened. You had it like did they raid your house, or like how did it happen? Like, because you were saying that you were doing your music and stuff like that. But as you were doing your music, you still obviously had to protect yourself. You were making music. You had you were around a lot of people, but you were still kind of like active.
I mean, I've always been me, you know what I mean? I'm always gonna be active. That's the only way. Like, I don't have no options, like I just, you know what I mean? I try to just mature as we go though, but I'm just me, forever. And I went to a gun show, you know what I mean? I went to a gun show, and I you know what I mean? I'm like a kid at a candy store. So I start grabbing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of these, you know what I mean? And infrareds, and just like, you know what I mean? I like technology, you know what I mean? I like to evolve with the times, and I got caught up for that, you know what I mean?
So was it after the gun show?
After the gun, like right after the gun show.
Yeah,
they followed me from the gun show.
Oh my God, that's kind of like a crazy little story.
Yeah, they followed me from the gun show, and they came in a regular truck, and they
Guys, do
busted
not
up.
buy bullets at the fucking gun show.
Don't
You guys
buy
are gonna get followed.
Yeah, don't buy bullets. You know what I mean? I even took a white guy with me. I'm like,
Oh shit! You thought you were undercover, huh?
yeah, I thought it was cool. I was
That
like,
shouldn't work.
I got this, and then they're like, no, we gotta call some guy tattoos, buying a large amount of, you know what I mean?
Oh wow.
So I was like, man, and yeah, they pulled up, and they were like, bam, 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 and I was like,
You said And how long did you do?
From there, I was supposed to do like, you know what I mean? I had this cool lawyer, but I was only supposed to do like a year with half, You know, mind you, like before all this, like my life, you know what I mean? It's been kind of interesting. Like I had an 8 convict music contract. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I met Jimmy Iovine, you know what I mean? Interscope, and I had this little $1 million contract, and you know what I mean? And man, I had all that on the table, and I got busted for those bullets, you know. And then I was supposed to do the year would have, and then from there, you know what I mean? Like I you know what I mean? I'm kind of responsible on motors, so you know what I mean? Like something took place, and then I caught an in-house, and my in-house, I'm like fighting attempted murder, 15 alive, and I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
You know what I
Yeah, because you
mean?
have so much going
Yes.
on out here, and it's like a year ain't really nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So you caught another case in there. You were like fighting your case, 15 years. You're saying. So what ended up happening? Did you lose did you lose all your stuff that you had out here going on?
Yeah, like yeah, like I had that going on, and then so after that, I was supposed to do that little 6 months. I turned that into like 15 to life, little cargo, and then from that cargo, I ended up getting like a state appointed, and he knocked it down to 9 years, and then we kept going back and forth, and then from that, he got me a deal for like 5 years. So I was like, all right, you know what I mean, like. You know what I mean? My little in-house, it was like I was trying to protect the little homies, you know, and you know what I mean? I just put my foot in the game, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, you know, and then that's what ultimately turned into a prison sentence. I took, they offered me 5, and then I was like, that sounds cool, but go in there one more time, you know what I mean? Cause we had like action, like I had action, like, you know what I mean? I was kind of like just defending myself, you know? But
Meaning action, for the people that don't know, what does action mean?
I had action, like, you know what I mean? Like I could have, like my lawyer, he was like, if you want to, you know
Like
what I
your
mean?
case was good.
Yeah, like
Got it.
it was kind of like, if you want, you could kind of, you know what I mean, file a civil suit, or this and that, or all this crazy stuff, you know? But I was like, I'm a G, like I'm gonna do me, let's take, he came back with four would have, and I was like, all right, let's run with that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go see my kids, you know? Cause in there it was kind of like the most, you know, I experienced a little bit. Like I went to this little place, little training spot, you know, it's called like Theo Lacy, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to put everything, but when I looked up the actual meaning, it was like made of God, you know, like Lacy's made of, Theo's God. So they actually like taught me how to survive, you know what I mean, for what was to come. So I thank them, like even though I went through like all these like treacherous moments, and you know what I mean, the little Hunger Games, like.
Hunger Games. What is Hunger Games in your terms?
Yeah, like the Hunger Games is like the movie, you know, like it's kind of like the movie, like they pop your doors, and it's like a little bit of survival, you know what I mean? But
What year was this?
this is like 2010, like 2010, and then like the beginning of 2011, you know, from there, because I went to high power, and then it's like military stuff. It's more military,
That's
you
what
know.
the Hunger Games is. Like you're in prison. Like, are you like starving yourself, or like, I don't understand. Like, tell us what's, the Hunger Games. Tell us a little bit more about the Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games, yeah. I call it the Hunger Games because that's the best way I could describe it, you know? It's kind of like that's when it's kind of like just like they teach you how to survive. Like to me, it was like they teach you and mold you to become like a little bit more like godly, you know what I mean? Spiritual.
Oh, so they're not like teaching you like, see what I was thinking when you meant like the Hunger Games, like they're opening the doors and you're out there fucking like trying to protect yourself from this fool fucking stabbing you, or like like some super fucking
That's what it is.
war movie type of shit. That's how what I understand, like what I think when you say Hunger Games, like, or like, fuck, you're not gonna go outside because you're starving yourself. I don't know, like,
Yeah, like sometimes I mean, you might go at it, I mean, because this is just business, you know? It's just like, all right, everybody down here, everybody, you know what I mean? Certain cells up here, and then, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, you know what I mean? Just, I mean, you put you in there with people that have experience, you know? So I mean, from there, it's like, you never know. Like somebody could be coming from doing 15 years and you know what I mean? And they put them right here with us, and then, it's just high power. They called it was like you call it like total sales, high power. We're shackled everywhere for movements. You know what I mean? So it's like You know what I mean? I'm escorted with like 20, you know what I mean? 20 huras, and you know what I mean? It's like a big deal. It's like everybody, like the most elite, you know? And then like, I'm just thankful that I picked up some of the trade, you know, some of the craftsmanship and stuff. I'm trying to put it in words where it's not like too much, you know what I mean?
I understand.
But it's like, teach me how to be a carpenter, you know what I mean? Teach me how to be a carpenter and a craftsman and just defend myself. That's it,
I
you know
get
what I
it.
mean? And you know what I mean? And it's kind of like that, like accidentally doors pop and this and that, and you know what I mean? And you
So
just
like, are you
get your
staying
money.
in, homie?
Yeah, kind of like that, you know? And then I mean, but me, I was different because like me trying to defend it was like sometimes I would get it from the other side too, and it would be like 9 of them, you know what I mean? Like, hey, here comes Nacho Grande, you know what I mean? So they're clowning, and then you know what I mean? And it's just me gotta be on defense. Like, I mean, at the end I didn't take it personal, you know, but in the process it was like, man, you know, like this is like, when is this gonna stop, you know? And then until I finally learned, like when I did go to prison, like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna fumble in anything, and everything I came through, I came with heart and just something like solid, you know, like
Of
all right.
course, I understand what you mean. Did you rap in there?
Yeah, I think I mean not at right there, but like when I went through prison, like I always had to go, you know what I mean? Like for me personally, like I feel like I'm the voice. So it's like I gotta go see what's cracking with the fellas in the back all the time, you know, and then maybe bring like a little care package. You know, like the music, it contributes with you know what I mean, a little bit of money. So I would always, you know, when I pull up, you know what I mean? Like
I get
everybody
it.
knows, like, hey, Chino Grande is right here, G.O., you know what I mean? So it's like a big deal. So I try to take care of everybody. I'll come through and I'll just come through with like soups and all kinds of coffee and stuff. So we just party. Like wherever I pull up, we're just like, bam, that fool's here, you know? And I, you know what I mean? Send them out to everybody here, bam, 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 you know what I mean?
But they never made you rap. Not made you, but like, you know.
I think when I went to Palm Hall, yeah, like at Palm Hall, because it echoes in there, you know? And then you're excited because I'm like, man, these are my forefathers, these are my elders, these are like the X-Men of our generation, you know, our revolutionaries, you know? So I'm like, you know what I mean? Excited to be in this big old spot, you know what I mean? And the 2 Tiers and Deep Seg, and I'm like, man, you know, and you know, to me it was a blessing because then you know what I mean? Like some people sing oldies, some people sing that. They have, I think like towards the weekend, they have a little thing called concert night, you know? So everybody's out there and they were like, what's up, you know, make some theater and you excuse the whole tier just for me to sing a little something, you know?
That's
so
nice.
I'll write something and kick something up for us, you know?
That's cool. You gotta
That's cool.
like when you're there, you know, everybody's going through their own emotions and their feelings, and they do need a little bit of brightness. You know, everybody's always on like you said, defense mode. So when they're like just saying excuse me, dispensa la tira, it's like, oh shit, something's like they're about to say something, but it was like when it was for dispensa la tira for you, that means they were gonna get some actual like nice feelings in their heart, or like get pumped up, or like get a memory of the streets, or like you know. So that was like you said, that was like a blessing for you that you got to experience that and make them have something up like in their hearts, because a lot of them are never gonna come home. So that's like super good.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be able to, you know what I mean? Just to, you know what I mean? Just to kind of like fellowship with, you know what I mean? Communicate with the fellas and, you know what I mean? See some elders coming home from after doing like 30 years, you know? They're all pale, and, you know what I mean? And they're about to go home finally, you know what I mean? They're like, what's it like out there, you know? I'm like, we got cell phones, we got touch screens, and they're like, nah. And I'm like, yeah, for reals, you know? And then they get excited, they get happy, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, man, like, just, you know what I mean? Like, just the whole transition of everything is like, you appreciate life more, you know? Like,
No,
man,
I understand.
Thank you.
So you ended up getting like what, 4 years, you said?
Yeah, I did 4.
And what year did you get out?
I got out like in 2013. I was out for like 9 months, and then I caught like another 2 years, and then I was out for like another 9, 8 months, and then I did like another 2 years, and this last time it was like.
Were you just getting violated? Or you were catching cases still?
The other one I got busted for I got busted for some syrup, you know what I mean? Had some syrup.
Fuck, lean with it.
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
with it.
You know what I mean? Like I was cruising on some syrup, I got busted, and then my third one I got busted for like, you know what I mean, some technology, and then from there, you know what I mean, for like the little cards thing, you know, the little card ambassador machines thing. I didn't know like it was a cargo or whatever, but they hit me with that, And then sure enough, they sent me out of state to Mississippi, you know what I mean?
To Yazoo?
Yeah, so I'm over there in the little black box, you know what I mean? A day and a half of just bus ride, and you know what I mean? They're like, those are your people, you know? Bring them back home safely. Good luck, you know? Vaya con Dios.
How was it in Minnesota? I mean, Minnesota, in Mississippi.
Mississippi was kind of treacherous, you know what I mean? It was cool, but thank God, like for Orange County, you know? Orange County, I learned how to, you know what I mean, do me, you know, and survive. So when I went to Mississippi, it was kind of like, you know what I mean, not too many rules. It was kind of like,
That's what I was about to ask, like, because
yeah,
it's not like super politics, because everybody does their own little programs, right?
kind of, you know what I mean? It was a mess. I'm not gonna lie, it was a straight mess until we pulled up. We pulled up with our bus, and then our bus was like, all right, you know, like this is where we're gonna get it together, you know. And thank God, you know what I mean? We came, and everybody was like, all right, you know what I mean? I was kind of like, well, let's get down to business, you know? Like, what's the core of all this? What's the purpose of all this? Why are we doing this, you know? Like, why are so many of our people captive in this captivity, and why are so many experiencing the dark side, you know?
I don't understand what that means.
Like,
Why are so many of our people captive? Like, what do you mean?
yeah, like,
because they already are incarcerated, so I don't get it.
Yeah, so like we're incarcerated, but then there's like a dark side of it, you know, like to where people are trying to push other people over because they've been pushed over. Other people's coming back from being pushed over, trying to, you know what I mean, push everybody.
You mean everybody's kind of like in the shoe or something?
Everybody, you know what I mean, like.
Or mentally in the darkness?
No, like they, you know what I mean, like
Ah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah, that when I mean captivity, slavery, I mean that, you know what I mean, SNY, PC, and stuff like that. Like once they cross over, you know what I mean? Sometimes they come over and they try to play victim to be suspect, you know? I'm not for that. I'm for God, you know what I mean? So I came with some light, and I was like, I'm on, you know what I mean? I'm on the sur. I'm over here on this side. I'm with truth. I'm with God, you know what I mean? Even if I'm the last one, then that's what it is. But I'm gonna bring some of these morals, some of these values, some of these traditions, and some of these, you know what I mean, rules and stuff, and you know what I mean, and that's what I try to establish right there. I was like, look, like, you know what I mean, everybody's missing dads because everybody got an excuse, you know. So I'm like, all right, everybody's missing dads, and you know what I mean, and everybody wants kind of that guidance, the trustworthy, the cariño. So, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, all right, you know what I mean? I had dads, so I know what it's like to be a dad. I got kids, so I am a dad. You know what I mean? So I try to be dad to all these little homies, and I say, all right, look, you know what I mean? We sat down at the table. We said a prayer for Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? Some people was like, hey, this and that. I'm like, my boy, you know what I mean? Like, it has to start somewhere. Like, it's going to start right here, you know what I mean? And if you don't like it, then we just go on the cell and we do what we got to do, you know? You know what I mean? I went like 3 times, you know what I mean? Disagreements. It was like, all right, cool, you know? And then that's it. And then we shake hands and dust it off, and we're good, you know? But at least like I put my heart and my soul into it, you know what I mean? Put my heart and my soul, and I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's not like you could get out of it. It was like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I might as well try to work it while I'm right here, you know? And I got a little bit of experience, so I was like, let's do it, you know? And that's
So you
kind of
took
what
over
I did.
that yard.
I try, Nah, I just be me, you know. I let God take over, and then what I'll do is I try to just bring light, cariño, a little bit of hugs, handshakes, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, because everybody's like kind of like, yeah, everybody's iffy, everybody's going separate directions, and you know what I mean, and everybody wants to be loved, they want attention, and you know what I mean, they don't know how to do it, you know what I mean. A lot of people, I think, like drugs and drug debts is like where they get everybody, you know, and like a lot of the little homies, I seen them try to, you know what I mean, like look for an escape route. And then that's when I was like, hey, like let's stop right here, you know? Like let's stop. If you know what I mean? And these are our people, like we're hurting ourselves, like just because, you know what I mean? Like you know, like some people try to take advantage and they get their families involved and do all the extras, and you know what I mean? I'm the kind of dude, like I'll pull them aside and be like, hey, like, you know what I mean? We ain't doing that no more. Like kick back, you know, and try to take care of like the little homies, and you know what I mean? And that's when we kind of like slow down, like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, all right, let's kind of like try to figure this out, you know?
How did it make you feel? Like, you knowing that the little homies didn't have no guidance, and like once you were gone, like, you know, so like, how did it make you feel? Like, did you feel like you impacted them? Like, do you feel like you were you caught a lot of like after these cases to like maybe guide or maybe like help certain ones, or even try like, one of them has to remember everything you told them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like inside?
I feel like it's good because I feel like we got it accomplished. You know what I mean? Like after that, I feel like we all formed a bond that like couldn't be broken. Like we went over there and we kind of just we were together for the holidays. It was like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then you know what I mean. When it was time for me to leave, because of course like the whole prison is like that's TOG. You know what I mean? It was like you know what I mean. Like I try to put us like family. All right, like this is where we're gonna be family, and this is what's gonna separate us from just being normal, regular. You know what I mean? So when we go back to California, like everybody has that love and that cariño, because a lot of people's broken. You know what I mean? And
yeah, they don't know any better.
yeah, they don't know. Like somebody's not telling them like right from wrong.
Or from their home, like. You had your parents when you were young. You decided to leave because you didn't want to listen. So that was different. Your parents were together. Some don't even have that. Some their parents are addicts. They don't actually know any better.
Yeah, yeah. But
so when you got out, was that the last time you were in prison?
Yeah, that was like the last time. Like when I went, it was a lot more it was a lot more different because I think like this last time, like my whole little experience with this, it was like military, like I seen like the military get involved, When I seen the military get involved, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like this is big. That's what gave me confidence enough to be like, all right, we got this, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people was trying to catch cases, come back to California on purpose, and
yeah.
And they were like, no matter what, you're not coming back regardless. Like you'll just stay in the hole, and then you'll fight your case when you do go back to California, but you're gonna stay here until we say it's time for you to go back,
Oh shit.
So there's no way out, you know what I mean? You can't really do that either because you can't be on no sucker stuff, So it's like you gotta work with what you got, And I think like when I actually seen like military helicopters, and I went to Ironwood. You know what I mean? When I went to Ironwood and I seen the like military helicopters, I was like, oh, this is deep, Like this is where it's at, And then that's when they were like, we're gonna guide you, you know what I mean? We're gonna take a hold, you guys swear to God, this is it right here, we got you, but
you either get it fucking together or get it together.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They just kinda like get it together pretty much. You know what I mean? They're gonna put us on trubos, and so I was like, all right. So after all that stuff, then I was happy. You know what I mean? Because in the beginning, it's just like guidance. So I'm like, all right. Until I actually met like a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? When I came back from the bus. You know what I mean?
When you came back from Mississippi.
When I came back from Mississippi and went to Arizona. And to Arizona, we went on the layover to Chino. And from that layover, that's when we met one of the Navy SEALs, like my bus did, And then I call him Tetris because he had a Tetris tattoo, And that's when everybody got to ask questions like, what the heck's going on? What is this? And so everybody's trying to get whatever they could, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? From there, it was like, all right, you know what I mean? Still kind of semi until we went outside of the bus, and then it was like maybe 4:30 in the morning, so it's kind of dark still. And then that's when I seen the whole, like all the lights light up, just all the way, And I was like, oh damn, like normally you can't really see it, but they're there, And then that's when I seen all the helicopters. I was like, oh shit, this shit is real, Like this shit is deep. And then from there we went to Centinela. From Centinela, A5, I paroled from right there, and then you know what I mean? It used to be the oil back in the days, and they made it into a little block. So like I went over there, go visit for a little bit, and then meet some of the fellas coming back from the Bay, and you know what I mean? And then you know what I mean, send my regards, and then after that I was like, all right guys, nice to meet you guys. It's been an honor, pleasure, and
yeah, I'm fucking out of here.
I'm out of here, gotta go now. You know what I mean? So came back home.
So what year was that?
2017. Yeah, March 11, 2017.
So that's not too long ago. How long have you been out?
I've been out for almost like 5 years already.
Good for you.
I'm blessed. I'm like, man.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Good for you.
For a minute, for like maybe like 2 years straight, I'm kind of waiting for that. But you know what? Like through that, like this little journey, like you know what I mean. That's when I went on I was like, all right, God, good looking out, Like let's see what else He has in store. And then from there, that's when I learned about the whole family tree, and then I put it together. I was like, oh, this is what this was, And connect the dots with everything.
Like the reasons why you went through all these experiences.
Yeah.
So you've been out for almost 5 years. What are you doing now? Are you still doing music? Like what are you doing?
Like as soon as I got out, like I still kept on the studying. You know what I mean? Like
What were you studying?
I was studying about like the whole thing about Jesus and that stuff. Because I was born in it. But it was like, to me, it started becoming more personal, more deeper, and then because I started seeing all these things that were like not regular. So I'm like, all right, like I ask questions to God. They're like, don't ask those questions. I'm like, I'm gonna ask him. Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, what is this? What is that? What is it? And then he started connecting the dots, and he was like, you know what I mean? Like, spiritually, we got this connection, and then from there, I was like, you know what I mean? It came down to I went through my mom's archives, you know what I mean? And I found this in
Show us.
the little treasure chest right there. You know what I mean?
Which one's your mom, if you want to show us?
Yeah, that's my mom right there. That's my mom. And then that's the little Knights Templar. You know what I mean? That's my mom. That's the Knights Templars from Israel, Jerusalem. And then we made our way over here. You know what I mean? Migrated all the way over here to East LA and then Whittier. And then, you know what I mean? Like the story behind that was the whole Holy Grail and you know what I mean? Indiana Jones, 81. That's my birth year. You know what I mean? Ron Wyatt, if you want to look that up, like he found the actual Ark of the Covenant under the cross in 81, on my birth year. You know what I mean? So I believe like that whole, like the media, like the eye, the all-seeing eye, the media eye is like there's a certain time and date for everything. And it's kind of like, that's the window, you know what I mean? That's where God grants us permission. Like, all right, now it's time, And then that's when I learned, I was like, damn, we came from Israel. And then I hacked on but I went on Ancestry.com, you know what I mean? And then from there, I traced the lineage all the way. I went to my mom's grandma, and then from my mom's grandma, it took me on a journey, and I just started climbing like for like 2-3 days, and then that's when I found like the whole Jesus thing. And I was like, what? Wait a minute,
Girl, that's why I've been so close.
Yeah, so I was like, at the beginning, it was still iffy. Like everything was iffy until I think cause the whole thing, you know what I mean? It's a little bit technical, you know what I mean? Like who he was with, the whole Mary Magdalene, but a lot of it was like I got from like the Da Vinci Code, and I was like, you mean the leave was for the if Jesus had kids and stuff, and he had a daughter named Sarah, Sarah Damaris, and then in Acts it talks about Damaris. That's when she meets Paul, and you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you know what I mean, Damaris, then you get Damu, and then blood. So it's like the bloodline, and it gets deep. Like if you start like dissecting it, you know what I mean? It's like, it goes a little bit deep. Like he had a daughter, Mary Magdalene, and then from there, like that's where we came from, you know what I mean? The Merovingians, King Merovig, Greek is Merovus, English is marvelous, and in Spanish is maravilla. And we grew up in Maravilla, in East LA, so.
So you feel like that's like your connection?
Yeah, I mean, deeper than that, like.
Obviously.
I think I made it because I was still iffy, you know what I mean? Like, that's my thing, is like, I want to get down to like the core, like nail it, So when I finally came down to it, I had my last son, you know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, you know what I mean? I need confirmations, So I asked God for confirmations, and of course my little study partners, And then from there I went to John 4:6 and 4:12, you know what I mean? They meet up at Jacob's well. Jesus and the Samaritan woman, they meet up at Jacob's well. And then in John 4:12, he says, you know what I mean? Like, are you greater than our father Jacob? So I was like, you know what I mean? Jesus, I think he was pretty like nitpick. So I think he would have been like, nah, you know what I mean? That's not my dad, that's your dad or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was really, really on point with everything, you know what I mean? Like correcting everybody. And he didn't deny it, so I was like, wait a minute. What he's doing is he's telling us a parable when he comes back. When I come back, I'm coming back through this, you know what I mean? Through Jacob. So after that, I was like, all right. And then I had one more question. The one more question, I was like, how am I gonna explain it to everybody? How am I gonna explain this,
Like how you're explaining it now.
Yeah, but it was like, I need proof, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And he said, what did I tell Thomas, you know? And I was like, you know what I mean? What'd you tell Thomas? So I'm looking through the Thomas stuff, and he was like, what did Thomas say when people don't believe? And he was like, what, is real? He was like, yeah, look at his rib. When I looked at his rib, he has a birthmark where he got the spear at, you know what I mean? In the same
Your
spot.
son?
Yeah, my son. He has a birthmark where in, like on the Shroud of Turin, and hit the burial cloth of Jesus. He had they got him. They speared him. That was his last little before he committed his spirit to God. You know what I mean? He went up to heaven, whatever. They speared him on the left side, and that's where my son's mark is. It was like, this
Wow.
for nobody that don't believe, just look at his rib. And I was like, wow. I was like, oh man, that's it. You know what I mean? All right, we got it. All right.
When you say your stories, like not your story, it's like, you know, but it's like a story to me, right? Yeah. How do you think, like, what do you, like, let me see, how can I say it? Because obviously I believe, right? Because I believe in God, but do you feel like you're like a chosen one?
I think I try not to be too picky. I mean, cause when I asked that question, cause I asked too, like, why me? Like, why would you pick me to do this? You know. But then when I went to John 4, and then 12, and I was like, all right. But then I asked like directly, all right, give me some a little bit more, you know. And he was like, what Psalms 135:4, you know. Jacob, I chosen Jacob. Like I chose Jacob, have I chosen, you know. Israel, our people, is for the special treasure. So
And
our
that's where
people,
your family comes from as
yeah,
well.
like all of us kind of like, you know what I mean? We all came from, I believe, like, you know what I mean? Like us in LA, and you know what I mean? Particularly, and then San Gabriel, of course, because if you look up like San Gabriel, it's like San Gabriel, you know what I mean? San Gabriel, and then San Real, and then the Holy Grail, you know what I mean? So everything's deep. And then when we came from Israel, I was like, you know what I mean? That's what it is. Most of us are the Holy Grail. Like we come from maybe you know what I mean? Like migrated, of course, a little bit more, you know what I mean? Different kind of lineages, but ultimately I believe like he put us over here because he was like, you know what I mean? They're gonna put us in the promised land. This is the promised land of milk and honey, you know? Like I don't think milk and honey would taste too good over there, all curled up, you know what I mean? It's too hot. So I was like, oh, we're good, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's where you're at now mentally.
Yeah, I dig, and I look through stuff, and you know what I mean. I do a lot of homework, and you know what I mean. I just like everything I connect, and then lately I've been doing music. I took a break because for probably 3 years I went deep, you know. I went deep. I studied military technology, you know what I mean. I studied military technology, and you know what I mean. The whole you know what I mean, how they reversed engineer since Roswell, and you know what I mean, because sometimes I'm like laser sharp wit. I'm September baby, you know.
I'm a September baby too.
Oh, you're September baby. Yeah, so I'm kind of technical, you know what I mean. Like I want to know like all the whole story and where they got this and that, and that's when I learned, like, you know what I mean. If you think about it realistically, it's like we got cell phones, you know what I mean. Don't have a cord to them. We got airplanes, you know what I mean. So people was like UFOs. I'm like, so what? Like we got airplanes. You mean sonic booms? And you don't think since 1947 we got like well over like how many years? Like, we got a lot of cool stuff now that just not out there like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I just want to say, you know, thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been a blessing, you know what I mean, and
Thank you.
you know what I mean? Thank you guys for having me, and I just wanted to share a little bit, you know what I mean? Give my foot a little bit.
Yeah, we can't get too
You know what I'm
deep. You know,
saying?
we can't give it to them all.
That's right, that's right.
Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.